Welcome back to the Business Sense on Business Pulse, the online show where we take complex things about business and we make them simple, so that you can see what you're looking at and understand what you need to do next. Perhaps you're just getting started, or you've been in a while, but you need to know what you need to do to take the next step. This is the show where we talk tactics and tools. We share business insights and inspirational stories to help you become successful in your business. In studio today, we're talking business mastery and chatting about building instant rapport in your business. With me in studio today is author, speaker, and coach, speaking about creating instant rapport in business, Stephen van Basten. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
Instant rapport, interesting topic. What's important about this to you?
It's important to be able to build rapport with people that are important to you and important to your business. So I believe that if you look at relationships, every single successful businessman has people around him or her and have built relationships with them. And your ability to interact with human beings and actually persuade or get them on board or on side to do what you want to do is paramount. So getting into rapport. Rapport is one of the most powerful states. I mean, if you think of going back to standard 8 when you were starting to get in rapport with one of the girls at school, or I don't know, maybe one of the boys, just that rapport, that fun, that vibe that was created, that's rapport. And there's no one ever on earth who has bought anything from me, for example, that hated me or didn't like me or didn't feel some sort of in rapport with me. So it's an incredibly powerful tool in sales and in managing businesses.
So when you say rapport, the first thing that comes to my mind is a report, and I'm afraid of that because that was normally a measure, but that's not what you're talking about. No. How do you break this down simply? As a business owner, startup, or I've got a team and I'll take my business to the next level, what am I looking for? What does rapport look like?
It looks like the picture with, remember the guy, no arms, no legs, no limits. I can't pronounce his name. And there was a little black dude from Soweto with no arms and no legs sitting on his lap. If you could ever find that picture, that's rapport. They were together. They were in this little bubble of sameness. And that's really what you're trying to do when you're building rapport is find commonality. So if we were chatting and I was trying to sell you something, firstly I can't sell you anything you don't need, right? But I'm assuming that by the time you're in a sales environment or a business environment, there's some sort of need. And it's really finding your need and then matching a product or a service that solves that. So that's at the highest level. But on a human level, if you just look at us now, so we're very much in rapport. I'm mirroring and matching you on purpose. So my hand's the same as yours. I wouldn't do this because it's a bit silly, right? But right now we're actually quite in rapport. As opposed to if I was to do this, you'd probably feel the feeling, or even if I were to do like this, Robin, you wouldn't feel at all comfortable with me doing that. So it's very interesting, just very, very surreptitiously, just mirroring and matching. There are lots of little things you can do to actually get into rapport.
I'm glad you used the word little. I'm seeing that there's an art to this, there's a craft to this, that actually with intention and on purpose, there's a lot of little things that we can do. You use the word to create instant relationship or rapport.
Yes. So for example, as I look at you, I can read your face. So this is a study of personology. So firstly, your eyebrows are quite low as opposed to higher up, which means you're informal and approachable. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. And also your eyes are quite close to your nose, which means you're quite focused. So when I sit down with you, I don't expect really to chat about the rugby and the state of affairs, but to get right down to business and be quite focused. So, I can also look at your hair, for example. So your hair is quite coarse as opposed to thin. And that's actually your personality. So I'm not saying you've got a coarse personality, but I would take a risk on just being a little bit more grounded. Maybe a swear word or two would be fine with you, a bit risque. Whereas somebody with really fine hair, especially a woman, I would be much more dainty and sophisticated. And if she had higher eyebrows, I'd be much more formal with her initially and take it that way. So in actual fact, if I were to meet someone that was incredibly important to me in my business, I'd find a photograph of them and actually have a look at them so that I'm pre-prepared even before meeting them.
This is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Now, why is this so important to you? Why is Stephen interested in this idea of instant rapport?
I was born into a weird family and we were just fighting. We just fought for like 13 years until I went to boarding school, basically. And I looked at my friends falling in love and then 7, 8, 9 months later falling in hate. And I just wondered what it is. So relationships have been important to me, and the study of relationships. I've been with my wife 28 years now, married 23, my daughter's 20, and I've made it my life mission just to find out, what it is, what's that X factor, what is it in relationships that is important, and how to improve them, and it comes down to value very often. So every day I wonder to myself, how can I add more value to Jackie so that no one else she doesn't subcontract those needs out to someone else, right? And I think how can I fulfill my daughter's childhood in such a way that she's empowered to go into life and make good decisions. And business is the same. So if you sit with a customer, you're really trying to find out so Robin, what's important to you? What delivery date's important to you? What color package is important to you? What credit terms are important to you? How are we doing? What can we do to make it better? When I'm speaking to you about your business that way, you're feeling great. I mean, if I'm telling you about all the stuff I've done, you in the back of your mind, you're bored. You really have no interest in me.
I heard you say you snuck 2 words in there that caught my attention.
What were they?
Value and contract. And essentially, I understand that business is about value, about creating and servicing and deploying or delivering value.
Yes.
But the only way somebody takes your value is if they're willing to contract with you, whether that's in a sales contract or a terms and conditions or a service contract. Mm-hmm. Now, perhaps this is one of the secrets. As I take my business to the next level, I need to learn. I've got value, I'm building value, and I need to learn the relationship aspect, the rapport value, to getting to that contract where someone says, hey, I want what you've got, or yes, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. Value is one of the most important things you can talk about. And as you are advertising and marketing and in sales presentations, you need to be actually showing what value it is. Because business, in my mind, is relatively simple, right? You have somebody who has a need and you can fulfill that need and they're willing to pay for it. That's business. So what you then need to do is make sure you're better than anyone else. But in actual fact, very often, and especially with sales and in business, it's not always the best company that wins, right? Why is that? Because some people are able to sell. And sometimes a good salesman will sell you their product, even though there's a better product out there, but you just didn't like that other person. So even grudge purchases, right? If you get bad service at a petrol station, you'll go somewhere else. Even insurance, if you don't like a certain salesperson or a company, you'll find another one. You'll always find someone to be in rapport with before you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with them. And firstly, you have no friends, Robin. You know that, right? You only have people who gain value out of being known and associated with you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, and when that value goes, they're gone. And it's the same in business. Okay, so your competitor. Okay, if your competitor went to your biggest customer and said, I can give it to you half price in half the time in the color you want, your customer is gone. Okay, the only loyalty you really have is they'll come back to you and say, can you match this? Okay, so it's all about value, and rapport is about value, but it's being able to very quickly see what's valuable. So if I look at your eyes and they're close, I know you don't value small talk, so I don't give it to you. Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. We're in the studio talking to Stephen van Basten about creating instant rapport in your business. Coming up in the next episode, we talk business mastery with a professional speaker and author, and we're talking about the 12 steps to creating exceptional business culture. We're chatting with Stephen van Basten. We're talking about creating instant rapport. Stephen, why is this so important in business today?
Business, as we all know, is not easy. We know the failure rates, and we know that you may have a great product, you may even have a great business, but without the human touch, without the interaction, without great relationships, you're always in trouble. We're in a probably feels like 15 years of recession, right, that we've been going through, and it's really tough out there. So, in my opinion, you really need to grab onto anything you can to ensure that you're just one step ahead of your competitor.
As you speak, I'm reminded my dad speaks of people do business with people,
Yes.
not products.
Absolutely.
We buy products or we use services, but it's about the people. So how do we become more aware of this rapport, this connect between people? What can I do to become more aware of this?
Well, one of the very powerful things you can do to start off with is absolutely fully understand your why and why you're doing what you do. I've spent many years just messing this one up and telling people, about my products and what I do, etc., etc. But recently, I have started off by telling people why I do what I do. And when I'm working with couples, for example, around marriage, I'll say something like, I'm fighting the divorce rate, one marriage at a time. Are you on board? And it's so difficult then for them to say, oh, actually, no, we're not on board, right? Sometimes I feel like a white Morpheus in the Matrix and just offering, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? And so many people just take the blue pill. The red pill takes you into this mayhem. It takes you into facing facts, facing the reality and dealing with it. Whereas the blue pill just takes you out into this rudderless ship and hoping that love will conquer all. But I don't think it does. You need much more than love to make a marriage work. And you need much more than a good product and a good company to make a business work. From there, you can actually study. You can study body language. You can study, it's an NLP actually practice, or NLP teaches body language. And it's really simple. So for example, you can mirror and match wording as well, so voice. I have one bride that phones me and she goes, hello, Stephen. And I go, hello, Claire. Gosh, I hope you never watches this clip. And basically, yeah, hi, Claire. And basically what I do is I match the slowness of her speaking. Because if I go, hey, Claire, how you doing? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And she's going, oh, in the background. So you can mirror and match the speed of someone speaking as well as the pitch, but also words. So, if you're sitting with someone, and I had a couple the other day I was working with, and she kept saying, 100%, 100%, 100%. So she said, so Steve, can you do this and this and this? Do you think I said yes? No. I said, 100%. And I got the business. So there are all of these classics. So you go into the guy's office and you look at the walls and, you'll see him trout fishing. Hello. So talk about trout fishing if you've ever done that. Also tattoos. If someone has a tattoo, to ink something into your skin is pretty important. So anything that anyone's tattooed onto their body, you can talk about that.
But I don't have to mirror that tattoo.
No, you don't necessarily. Okay, yeah, I had a colleague or a friend. I know someone who's such good friends with someone, and they visited them for 6 months. They tattooed the coordinates of their home on their body. That's how important that was. Now, when you ask them about that and that friend, you can speak for hours just talking about what's important to them and their business, etc. It's really about finding the value, finding what's important and then delivering on that.
Let's recap, because I've heard some really great ideas. We're talking about creating instant rapport. And one of the things I heard you say is that you just look what's around in the room, look what's on the walls, look what people are putting around them, look at tattoos, and that will tell you something about it. Yeah. Another thing I heard you say was body language, or mirror or mimic the body, the way the person sits, the way the person holds himself. Yeah.
So for example, work with me. If you fold in your arms, so you fold your arms, okay? So what I would do if you were folding your arms, I'd fold mine as well, okay? Yes. And then we'd chat, and then when I felt that we were in a bit of rapport, I'd just undo mine, and there we go. And in theory, if we were in rapport, you would then unfold as well. It's also interesting for those of you who are dating, right? So if you're in a pub and the beautiful blonde's over there and you're wondering if she's noticed you, just have a look at your watch, okay? If she does the same, go and offer to buy her a drink because she's noticed you. These days we'll pull out our phone, right, to see the time. Or you open your phone just to check WhatsApps. If she does the same, offer her a drink. If she doesn't, she hasn't even noticed you. Just walk on by.
That's a network meeting tip just right there. The last thing I heard you say is using words to mimic and mirror words that we use.
Yes, and brands. So, for example, hypothetically, if I were to speak to Harley Davidson, I wouldn't speak about being quiet and how to quieten the engine. I'd speak about noisy and vibrant and manly and stuff. If I was at Nando's, I wouldn't speak about their sweet and sour sauce. I'd speak about hot and chilies and piping hot and burning. It's hot stuff, And if I went to Hershey's, for example, I wouldn't speak about smoking marijuana and snorting cocaine. I would speak about family stuff and cooking, etc., etc. So you can mirror and match the brand value. Make sure when you go somewhere, you've read their vision and mission statement, and you know what's important to them, because they're giving you all of those clues.
Excellent. We talk about creating instant rapport with Stephen van Basten. You're on The Business Sense, the show where we take complex things about business and we make them simple. What one tactic and tool will you use that you've heard from Stephen today as you take next steps to take your business story to a next level of success? Join us again next time when we talk business mastery and we speak with a professional speaker and author and look at 12 steps towards creating customer engagement as you make your business successful. I am Robin Pullen, and this is The Business Sense.